Hi, welcome to the Trappist Transfer, an actual play podcast using the Eclipse Phase RPG, set in a fictional sci-fi future of Earth and humankind. Earth, in quotation marks, you'll see. I'm Will Blackmore, and I'll be your game master, weaving a web of intrigue for our players, Ashley and Bradley, playing Truthseeker, Mark Jondal, playing Comms 3, until we create nicknames, Evie, Pastor, and Connor Crumley, playing Penelope Gray. Please spell with an A, E, A...
Gray or
Gray?
G-R-A-E.
That's what G-R-A, of course, yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, welcome back to the game. This is our second episode of actual play, where last time we set off on our journey. We were several years into the trip on the P.O.L, spiraling around the solar system, building up speed, getting closer and closer to our final speed of 0.1 or 10% of the speed of light, which we were pretty close to at this point. We'll talk about that probably in the future. It's not going to be relevant today as much, or will it? But as we saw last time, there was an unfortunate natural disaster where a coronal mass ejection blasted out of the sun, obliterated the Earth and its colonies, and left the Pollux as the only remaining elements of humanity. New kind of intelligence in the universe we'll talk about, overloading the systems, to which we saw vast processing power brownouts rolling across, affecting the server, or rather the virtual world we call the hold on the ship, and a lot of other issues that we see will come up. Where we left, you will find out in a moment, but I want to backtrack just a little bit because I left my players with a little bit of homework, where we wanted to talk about the final message from Earth, what humanity sends off its only begotten child at this point into the universe to hopefully restart our civilization in a new place, or carry it on perhaps in situ. And so I'm going to pass it on over to Evie to read the piece.
So this comes from... Can we do her name? Because I don't remember exactly.
Oh, good lord, I've got it written down. I believe they are gender neutral, but I could be wrong on that one. I have it somewhere. I'm totally prepared. I believe you. Avery Nakata, does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Wait, or Triss. Yep, Avery Nakata. There you go. Triss is your assistant. That's the other one I've written down.
Yeah.
I have
Avery Nakata.
Right.
Gender
The
neutral.
first of the first for Earth.
the first among equals for the global initiative.
Yep.
Thank you.
First among the council of firsts.
Yeah.
They really like number one.
The number one, but we're all number one.
Mm-hmm. So to set the scene really quickly again, the remnants of humanity were gathered in the forum, the spherical gathering place where everyone has an equal position to the speaker in the center. There were so many, an uncountable number, that instead of the individual faces you're used to seeing across the sphere, it was this blur of color and overlapping avatars, which actually was a bit shocking. But everybody watched the Earth be obliterated in that moment, and then the final transmission came through from Avery saying this.
We will not be Euripides for you, so that you are torn asunder by the madness of grief, but ask that you be our Athena, giving birth to yourselves from our hubris and following the light of your own wisdom. End transmission.
In that silence, I offer a cheers to the death of humanity.
Cheers.
Earth.
Checkers.
Humans are still alive.
R.I.P. Earth, you were a good planet.
You all right?
Great
Well,
planet.
smart.
We did terrible things to it.
Yeah.
So what I would love everybody to do in this moment of hushed silence, followed up by this rising tide of... it's amazing that these sounds come across in this virtual sense, but honestly, like, it has been modeled in a very real world kind of piece. And you are so overwhelmingly jam-packed, not just elbow to elbow, but literally inside of the bodies of avatars that are near you, that element is overwhelming, that this piece of shared pain and suffering together as a group is overwhelming. And what I need everybody to do is please make a will save, or will roll. So take a look at this is, I know, one of our first, we're getting into this. Take a look at this point. Double checks all the things. Should have saves up in here. Hold on.
It's your base aptitude times 3, right?
Yes, so thank you. That is the save. I appreciate it. So if your will, for instance, is 20, you would have a 60. What I need you to do is roll that for me, and I'll let you know how this goes. And we'll start over here with you just throw all of your dice down.
Well, I rolled both. This one.
Oh, fuck.
Just one for now.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Alpha got.
So what is? So tell me what your will save score, or whatever, for lack of a
My
better term for
will
right now.
score is 20, so my save is 60, and I rolled a 27.
Okay, so you succeeded. Remind me of that in a minute.
Okay.
What did you get?
So you only
Oh
rolled
wait,
one.
you
2.
are excluded from this for now. My apologies. Actually,
You don't have.
no,
feelings
I'm gonna make you do it as well. There's it's not for the same reason, but you are also having to make this roll. What
Do you
is
want me
your
to roll a percentile or one die?
percentile?
Okay. All right, my check is a 45, or my DC is 45, and I rolled a 25.
Okay, so far so good. All right.
So will times 3?
Yeah. that's
Okay,
good.
so then that's 45, and then I rolled a 77.
Ooh, a critical failure.
Oh,
That's such a thing. Anytime
wait.
you roll doubles, it's critical, so it's a
Oh.
failure because you went over. So I'll keep that in mind.
Cool.
2 sevens.
gonna
Oh.
lose it.
And
We did the same.
Miss
Nice.
Penelope, what did you get?
Penelope's will check is a 45.
Mm-hmm.
She rolled 100.
Wait, double zeros?
Yeah.
That technically is a 0 in this game. So
Oh,
that is a
that's
critical
oh.
success.
Wow.
Yeah.
In fact, that's like rolling a
99.
crit. That's like a 20.
Nice.
99 is critical
crit
fail.
miss, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. I rolled a 0.
That's good. You did really. You had
'Cause
no
I-
emotions about the.
I take
I
that
was
high
like-
five back.
All of the zeros. I failed.
You're like,
We don't get to
you're like,
commiserate together.
I mean, she's very, very English, even though she's Welsh.
Whoa,
we only
very-
mustn't grumble. And all
Yeah.
that.
Very,
Yeah.
very English. So, all right. So here's how this is
Calm
going to happen.
Carry on. Nothing's wrong.
This is going to be a little intense. Do me a favor and take a look at your sheet and find trauma threshold.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. So we'll start. I'll go around the circle in the same way. Basically, what's happening here is combined with the universal suffering of at least all of humanity that is left together around you. There's a level of you being bolstered in the community, but it is also overwhelming in that you have no filter in this, and you just watched any level of loved ones, of all of that potential and possibility that was the future of humanity extinguished, snuffed like a flame, and that is hitting you hard. And so rolling out what you're going to be taking basically as mental stress. So if you take a look, I'll explain this out actually after we've gone through the values here. But tell me what your trauma threshold is.
I don't know.
How do
we haven't
we?
filled them out.
This is a great moment to figure out what that is.
That was
Indeed.
unintentional.
So,
I honestly did not see that when I was looking through everything. I thought I got most of the base stuff. I apologize
Well,
for that.
if
I have my
somebody-
wound
Mark,
threshold.
since you're on your computer, if you could look that up, we'll go through the values for now, and we'll let you know as we come back. Do you have the thing in front of you?
I'm having technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Please stand by. Technical difficulties.
I have it downloaded.
I'm
on my
drinking
phone.
to
Oh,
You're
bitches, I
sorry.
got it.
Cool. So while you're looking it up, let me know when you got it. I'll do some other explanations.
Yeah.
While we are finding this for the viewers as well as you, since people are figuring this out. Hi, welcome to In-Game Figuring Things Out, a new mechanic for all of us. So,
Hey, did we mention we're just learning how to play this game?
absolutely.
This game's brand new.
So we have
Hey,
a
we mentioned
trauma
my trauma
threshold.
threshold is real low right
Yo,
now.
listen up.
Yeah, 0.
Yes.
We have a trauma threshold, each of you do, which basically says that when you take trauma or when you take mental stress damage, if in one go you hit the trauma threshold, then you get basically you get a trauma, right? Something that clicks into you. It's not the worst thing in the world. You may get multiple traumas at the same time, in which case you get an acute stress as opposed to disorientation. It's a way of saying that if you reach this point, you become disoriented, right? Like you kind of have to sit and process. If it goes beyond that, you get an acute stress where you might get a like fight or flight kind of response to it.
Shit.
You also have an insanity rating. where if you ever reach up to that insanity rating, then you're gone. Your mind is broken. That's probably the closest thing we have to death in this game, for now at least. You also have a lucidity rating, which should be, I believe, twice your will score. If you ever get up to your lucidity rating, you gain a major, basically mental disorder. I forget exactly what they call it right now. No, mental disorder trait. You have a mental breakdown, and we get to chat about having
If you get up to it?
Yeah.
So it'd be double your will.
Uh-huh. Okay. It can be operated on, shall we say.
Also, can you reboot from your last upload?
Can you reboot your... Can I go back to my previously saved data?
I'm just saying, we're sleeved. We have redundancies.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there's a certain level, right? If you may... That version of yourself would just be permanently gone, right? That mind is too far gone, perhaps. Right. So yes, but there are things that can carry over mental issues to others, let's say. We'll see how this goes.
Cool.
So for now, you succeeded on it. We'll see. I'm just going to figure it out for us shortly. But write this down somewhere. Basically assume that this is mental damage. Ooh, you're going to be taking 9, which might hit that threshold for you. Mark, your character, actually, kind of similarly.
I'm taking 9 even though I succeeded?
Yeah.
Fuck.
This is a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, so for you, you're taking 10. This is different though. For you, this in a way this represents that shutdown that you had when the blast came through. So this is going to go away eventually, perhaps. Although you might perhaps be seeking out somebody to help you kind of massage this element. So you know that there's something wrong. You're feeling. Not only are you suddenly feeling emotions for the first time, but you know that there's something wrong with them, right? That there's this level of cognitive dissonance that's happening. So this represents the damage taken from that blast of humanity that both awakened you but also hurt you.
This is trauma taken.
This is trauma. Yeah.
And
So
how much again?
10. A critical fail. So here's what I'm doing.
See if that hits your threshold. You haven't actually taken.
Here's what I'm doing for you.
Well, where do I write it?
Part of this, even though you failed, so I'm doubling the dice for you in this particular case. Actually, it was gonna be more than that. So, other people were taking 10s on this. For you, you're taking a lot more die, but you're taking D6s. Because what we talked about in the sense of you are vaguely aware of the concept of family and that you've probably had it and there are people connected to and you grieve for humanity, but you're not as intimately connected. There's not a particular face that comes to mind for you. So you're somewhat shielded for this, but it's still going to hurt a bit. 17. So when we figure out what this trauma threshold is, we're going to talk. So remember these numbers. I'm not writing them down. And
I'm having trouble finding it.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna go with this as a concept for it. So unless they say specific thresholds here,
there's because this sheet that I have had a specific math that it did on its own. Because thanks Smart Sheets. I'm trying to figure out how to do the math.
Cool. I'm going to make something up for now, and we're going to roll with it. It's going to be based on some legit numbers here, so we'll see what happens. So let's see. Math this. So take your will score. I'm sorry, I'm going to make you all math for a second.
That's all right.
Divide it by 10. And times it by 4. So, for instance, if you have 20, that would get you with a trauma threshold of 8. There may be easier math for that, but I'm not going to screw with it right now.
Wait,
so take your will score, your flat will score.
Okay.
Divide it by 10. So if it's 20, it should be 2. If it's 15, 1.5. And then multiply it by 4. So, how much mental stress did you take, and what is your threshold?
Well, I took the least amount of damage, and I have the highest will, so I'm guessing everybody's gonna be fucked because I only have 8, and I took 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's how this represents for you, right? You were kind of in this moment. Actually, I want to pause for a second and kind of process this. So you had 1 trauma, basically. Mark, have you figured out what comms 3?
I have a 6 trauma threshold, and I experienced 10 traumas.
Okay. So 10 mental stress. The trauma is what happens if you exceed that threshold by a different factor, right? Okay. So you have 1 trauma fail, basically. So keep on that extra stress as damage.
Fail. So 1 trauma taken?
Yeah, 1 trauma taken. Abby.
Oh, so my threshold is 6, and then I took 17.
Ooh, well, almost 3, so you're good. You're at 2 traumas. And so Penelope, with that critical success, Penelope rallied in a phenomenal way. And if you have an idea of how, I'd love to hear it. From my perspective, I see it's kind of connected to this family legacy element that you have with your arm, and the way perhaps you view your family in connection to what you left behind on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, death has never been... It's always been, in our family, it's always been looked upon as an inevitable fact rather than a traumatic experience. So, and we also have access to previous generations. So nothing is ever truly gone.
I like that. And in this moment, I'm going to say that you also find a certain level of comfort from the sea that is around you, right? Like, you find almost a level of anonymity in it. But and so in a way, you're crowdsourcing your grief, right? Like, you're allowing, you're feeling it. You're not detached from it, but you were allowing those around you, and you stand up stronger because of it.
Yeah.
And so you actually act as a calming sort of nexus for those who are around you at the moment.
And the whole Weavers Guild, when this happens, all of our clothes immediately turn black, because we're all connected through the mesh. Because guild, you gotta pay attention to your peoples. So
I like that you've got a visual social media connection, right? And so you're just hit the piece and it to kick us off. I like that. We're mourning right now. So metal.
So metal.
Cool. As a pod. All right. So with this then, single trauma, I think both you and Comms 3 find yourself disoriented. Basically, imagine it taking the equivalent in this game of a round to kind of shake it off. If this was a combat scenario or something along those lines, you would have to spend a complex action.
I'm shook, basically.
Yeah, you're shook. You're like, oh, whoa. And for you, I would say, it doesn't happen all that often, right?
I think I'm shook because more than the Earth just getting destroyed, fucking my prime dude's here, and
you don't know that yet though. We're at that level of the form right before you go home. Okay. So we're gonna deal with that next on deck, but we're just gonna add some more shock to you. So that's kind of the happen. You take a minute, and you're able to kind of shake it off. And for you, the Earth
isn't destroyed yet. We just heard about it.
It just happened in the sense of you watched it. That was the final speech, and this is the collective grief of everybody watching the world be destroyed. This is what is doing the damage.
We already haven't
right
had
now.
The information dump happen.
Yeah, no, that happened as well. Because that was happening over the last 2 weeks. That's where this has happened. I'm doing some things concurrently, which is this represents that downtime you had from the information dump, right?
Okay,
so for you being disoriented, that's your trauma.
We're not getting information from Earth in real time.
Yeah, I know. I was just confused because I thought when we went back from sending the thing that when I went back to my pod that Prime was already there. I thought that already happened. That's the only thing I was.
That happened where we left off after watching all of this. So we did a little bit of a rewind to kind of play out the sort of final message from Earth, but as well as talk about this trauma element, right? That is very real. We kind of played it out narratively, but I found a mechanism in the game that I wanted to talk about. So,
cool.
So we're gonna go to you in a minute, dealing with that as a follow up. But this is in your head as you're on your way home to sort of share your trauma with the rest of your pod. And for you, does that make sense in terms of like this was that blast that was a major amount of sort of like mental trauma, but I mean it's birth, right? Birth is going to be trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
You being born.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
You are going to be on deck in a little bit as we deal with that birth, by the way, but we've got some other pertinent things in the moment. So think about how you're going to be processing that trauma and ways you might be seeking to alleviate that bit of mental stress that you've taken on, perhaps, and also connecting. So we're going to
If they can't hear that on the stream, that's going to be really weird.
No, I'm just going to howl every once in a while.
Happy Halloween!
It'd be really weird if none of you heard it except for me. I'm like, hellhounds?
What?
I maybe have just learned to humor you.
I would get salt in the door for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Salty.
And we're on that little opening behind this that nobody knows about.
My buddy Spencer absolutely hates cilantro. Like he's one of that 3%, and it's just soap for him, right? Like that weird genetic
I think
piece.
it tastes like soap, but I still like it.
You love soap. It works for him. But so we always joked about when Spencer dies, or we kill Spencer, and comes back as an avenging ghost. We would, instead of salting our doors, we would just like cilantro everywhere.
Yeah.
Just be like, you can't cross the doorway, Spencer. Come at me. It's taco night. At any rate, this hit you shockingly hard. I would say this is probably one of the more, from what you described, and I don't want to impose too much upon your character, but probably one of the stronger emotions that you've felt in a long time. And I kind of want to give you the floor to talk about perhaps the way that it is hitting you, because not only is this a failure, right, which took damage, but this is like, I mean, it's a critical failure. That's a narrative opportunity to say like a wow factor, right? It's a sad wow factor, but I want to say how is this affecting you? And I'm actually going to also make you roll a d6 here in a second.
Cool. Do you want it before or after?
Talk about it before, because it may affect a follow-up piece.
Okay. So I would imagine that this sort of like comes in layers, as Castor is sort of like, like they're pretty aware and they like try to keep tabs on themselves and like what have you, but like it becomes a fat stack fast. Like first you have all this influx of data that Castor is responsible for, and it's a lot. It's more than the workload that they've had to deal with, again, in a very long time. For a long time, things have been going really well. Lots of successes, lots of like, even when you had clinical failures, they made sense, and we grew and we made new stuff. So like this is a lot. And then so I see that sort of as like the start of it, which and it kind of like snowballs from there. So like everybody's in the hold, and there's what I would imagine is happening is there's a lot of overlap, but you also have a lot of people who are like, they can't help themselves. They're like initially reaching out, and like they're reaching out everywhere and anywhere. Yep. And so Castor being sort of jacked into the ship, as well as the information
connection to
absolutely
this plea for help.
Absolutely. And they don't they normally, even when it comes to hard choices, hard decisions, like health stuff, other traumas, like they're very aware and like understand how mental trauma works and treating the thing and doing the thing. But this is absolutely like unfettered and unfiltered and overwhelming, and literally nothing that can be done. Like this was not something that could be prevented. This was not something they could do, and they just sort of weren't prepared for it. It's kind of what I would imagine. I would also like, I haven't really fleshed this out, so I don't really like fully know, but like I might also put out there, I have two different ideas. One about like incoming information, but like also I wouldn't be surprised if this unlodges something hidden. Or or repressed.
I would like that.
Yeah.
There is very much an aspect of this that we haven't talked about where this kind of mental stress and trauma can actually trigger pre-existing disorders that people have. So I would say, for instance, like speaking perhaps is a little bit more difficult for you right now. Right, like a little element of right, because that is one of your like the pieces, right? The
aphasia.
I don't recognize anyone.
Yeah, is that one of yours that you have?
Well, so what I was sort of toying with is that one of the traumas or one of the negative traits you can take on is lack of facial recognition. Mm-hmm. So I had this idea that I had basically built myself a constantly rolling database of people and people that I'd met. And this all plays into sort of like my room and my book and like my legacy and things like that. But especially in this blast, I would imagine that literally like it just becomes an undulating sea of humanity to me. And I no longer have like, even because previously, like even when you had multiple ones, I could deal with that. Like I could this is too many.
So I want to paint this picture for you.
Cool.
I'm also going to need you to make another will save. Careful. Still a lot of coffee in there. I was like almost splashed. So remember I talked about how typical conventions were not overlapping other avatars, right? But now that we are in this jam-packed space, the way that it works is like they almost seem ethereal versus you being the most real thing around you as like things are overwhelming you. So there's almost a sense of like, I mean, you sort of taking a knee in whatever form that means or whatnot, and sort of having all of these faces that are full of grief staring down to you, like this almost unbelievable density of it, who are these ethereal faces that you don't recognize any of them, and you can't even tell them apart. They are just this, they might as well be every face of humanity or anything you might have ever lost, and their information is overwhelming and rolling over your like heads up display. It so much so like reminds me back to like the days of WoW, right? In like auction houses, right, where all of the names are just, the placards are just a single line, like overwhelming each other. And like that is just
everyone's standing in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
Well, and because everybody's doing their own thing, their movements are also erratic and weird, and you don't know what
it's like
they're.
This watercolor mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is I'm going to say like what I've already said to y'all hold, because it's not a permanent piece. But normally what I do for the disorientation or this element would also require a second will save. So my apologies for doing that, but it happened. Suck it. For now, though, for you, I'm gonna give you a chance.
Okay.
Make another will save. And so your value is what, 45?
Yes. Did you want a D6? Or...
Not yet. It happens if you fail this.
Cool. Oh god.
Big money, no fails.
No offense, how much to fail, but you fail.
76.
76. Awesome. So you failed.
Right.
Not only that, but it was over 66, so which means that it is it's not a critical, but it's a. Damn, I'm still figuring out the titles, I'm sorry. But it's basically like a double plus fail. What this means in this case is that you have an acute stress response. Please roll 1 through 6. And this happens with 2 traumas or above.
Okay. 2?
Fight. You have a fight versus flight or a detachment option. So you must immediately attack the source of the trauma regardless of personal safety. We'll see how this connects, perhaps. I'm open to interpretation. Your attacks ignore trauma modifiers. Oh, that's nice. And you must continue to fight until the source is destroyed or you are taken out of the fight. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I have a way of how this resolves for you.
Sure.
But, I've described a lot of different potential sources. It's not just the destruction of the earth, right? But it is all of this sea of things around you. And I'm curious how you would fight this.
I would even say that the destruction of the earth is actually the furthest thing. Because I already knew that was happening to a certain extent.
And start popping airlocks open.
Sure.
Whoa.
Sending some people into space.
Yeah, spacing them.
Pollux chimes in on your ear. You no longer have administrative duties over there currently.
Right?
Your airlock privileges have been revoked.
I mean, I feel like Pollux wouldn't bother to tell me.
No.
You would just try, and then Pollux would be like, Castor,
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is not a good idea. This isn't happening.
Access.
But what do
denied.
you
Right.
view as the source, and what are you doing
to fight it. So you said that there was like what was the other option? Like you said.
No, that's your option.
Well, no, you said fight within
until
fight.
it is destroyed or you are taken out of the fight.
Okay, I thought I heard like a disassociation option or something like that.
So the
Detach.
options, depending on how you roll on the 6, right? That's where you get fight, which is what you rolled. You can get flight, run, or detachment.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize
no
that those
longer
weren't
an
part of
option.
my
Those
options.
are non-optional.
Got it.
What
No,
comes along
I
with
just
that
wasn't.
That is not optional. Is you also feel lots of anxiety and things like
Sure.
fixation on stuff and tremors, like you're shaking.
Sure.
As weird as that is.
Yeah,
visually.
I didn't get that part, that those weren't part of it. So we're in the hold. In a lot of ways, there's not any physical way for me to fight these things. Right, well,
We'll talk about it
sure.
next episode.
Right.
We'll use the bottle board.
I mean, at least not as we understand physical fighting, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
definitely not physical fighting.
Correct.
You have lots of resources at your hands.
I do, but I also wonder how quickly Pollux would shut that down. But
You don't need to worry about that. You're currently in a fight mode, fight in whatever way you see fit, and I'll figure things out outside of that.
Sure. No, I get that.
Storytelling.
I honestly feel like the first thing that Castor would try to do, or would do with maybe out even trying, it would be part of their fight response, maybe fight in order to flight response, is just that to make room, if that was possible, to so these things are flooding. And initially, because Castor is jacked into everything. Initially, it's like Castor has to take this stuff in. Castor has to handle this. This is part of their stuff, and it would get to a point where it'd be like big as no, we can't handle any of this, and just sort of trying to shove that away from myself in the hole. Does this make sense, what I'm trying to say?
So your fight response is encapsulation of either yourself or the threat, so that it's no longer with you.
Raging out to kind of like a defensive fight mode,
Yeah.
shoving it away from you, right? Which you
correct.
can't really do. If I can make a suggestion,
Sure.
since you have this access to almost unfettered access to the dossiers around you, right? And to a
Right.
certain extent, I would say that in a very uncharacteristic, and that's sort of the nature of this idea, right? You mentally lash out at people that are around you. You almost just create this burst of psychic, in a digital sense, rage.
I guess
that,
that's what I
causes
sort of.
people to kind of push back. Yeah,
That's what I.
almost individually targeting them practically though.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down that line, but that's what I was trying to say. Is that basically it would, especially for someone who mostly just does their work, shows up, does their thing, and not in a disconnected or upset way, but doesn't get super emotionally involved, but very much is I'm done.
Cool. You go full Fezzik on them.
Cool.
I was gonna say fireball.
Huh?
Freak out.
Fireball.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I get what you're saying. We're talking more about a force punch, not a bubble.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And it's
No, I get it.
It's just it's we're stretching some imagination lines here, talking in a digital world, how are we doing this? But it is it shocking those around you in the sense
Sure.
where they feel like this, a digital force, something that is weird and never felt before, that you almost, I would say here's what happens, and you were unsure how you do it. You solidify yourself. So much so that almost touching the code in a way that you haven't thought about doing and you might not be able to replicate ever. You solidify yourself, shoving all other avatars out of that space, just making yourself very real. And in a way, you see it almost do harm to those.
Sure.
But as that happens, you feel that strange sensation of falling, like I described through like the transfer technique, right, where you like you pop through the doorway, and you find yourself like in your hobbit hole.
Nice.
What did we call that again?
Oh, I was calling it the gobble hovel.
The gobble
That's
hobble.
not its official name, but y'all are allowed to call it that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Not hanging on the door.
With like a cup of tea or whatever preferred beverage next to you, right? In like quiet zone, and then just like a handwritten note is what it looks like on the table from like signed Pollux, just being like, this is a one-time thing. It will harm you if I do this again. You needed safe space. Like removed you from the scenario because it recognized you were going to do harm.
Nice.
So it's watching you.
Cool.
I'll be back to you.
Cool.
So you need to be alone for a while is kind of what comes out of this. So side note for everybody who gained traumas, here's how it works. Until healed, you have a -10 modifier per trauma, and a -1 initiative modifier per trauma.
-10 to like all skill checks or just like to saves?
So to, let's see.
Or to just everything?
All character actions.
Okay.
So basically that means that like anything where like, oh, your success is going to be like a 50, it's now like a 40, right? If you had a 10, or a 30 if you're 2 down. So everything's harder, right, for now at least.
Wait, 10 per or?
Yeah, 10
per, so 20.
Okay.
20 for you.
Because you said 2
others.
and then you said 30, so I was confused by that.
I was talking about other numbers, sorry.
Okay.
So it is, a -10 modifier to everything that you do, and a -1 modifier to initiatives, and that stacks per trauma. So you have 2 traumas, right? So 20 and 2.
Right. Got it.
1 and 10 for both of you. For future scary reference, this also stacks with physical wound issues. So if you're having mental, when you have mental and physical damage that I'm doing to you, terrible things can happen. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks. So this is where, things get problematic. So keep track of both of those numbers, right? How much stress you took, because it will accumulate as well. And bad stuff will happen if it gets too high. Anyway. So, Penelope, I don't know if there's anything in particular that you wanted to do. I would say like you've held yourself together. The guild is held together. I don't have a particular narrative for you unless you want to add something to this right now.
The guild is strong.
Yeah, I mean honestly,
the guild is strong.
Like you're noticing, not everybody is as stoic as you. You have a very particular skill set to help handle this. But I would say the network of the guild has helped heal and process, and very few members of the guild are like really falling apart. There's one member that is obviously not handling it well. Which I may have you write something for. Karen. That Bob.
There's nobody named Karen in
Come on, Karen.
Not that they'll own up to.
Not
They
anymore.
changed their name. They go by K.
I do feel like because we are handling it fairly well as a group, because we do have friends outside of the group as well. We're not super insular.
Bill.
What? Bill's outside the group?
Yeah, I was just making a joke from earlier.
No.
Like we'll definitely reach out and like try and help other people process and like make their way through.
You do that in any particular way, or just kind of narratively wanting to do that?
I don't think I have any special skills.
It's up to you.
I think just narratively, just like being there, reaching out to like friends and like, hey, like some shit just went down. But nothing that's gonna cause any major damage or fix any major problems. Just like human contact.
Sounds good. Awesome.
I'm not sticking my foot in that pool.
Well, probably not. So before I transition back over to the Truth Seeker, I would say that there's a maybe after a while of processing, you and your gobble hovel, you notice another note at some point from Pollux saying, take all the time that you need, but there is a serious matter to discuss when you are ready. With sort of like a, equivalent of like a script handwriting, but it is also kind of like a weird script handwriting version of this is an urgent message, like flashing. Like,
Sure.
Like when you're ready, but then a clock, like
it's got runner
counting
lights.
down.
also shit's on fire, yo. So
Right.
we should check. So
Burn it to the ground.
transitioning.
I'm not ready. Let's do this.
You're on your way. You're on your way home.
That's the spirit.
To the hallway, for lack of a better term. I don't know. We don't have a kitschy name like Gobble Hobble yet.
I like the hallway.
I like the hallway. The hallway of records.
I think it should be the hallway.
Of truth. Hallway of truth. That seems pretentious enough for Truth
The
Seeker.
hallway of truth. Yeah.
Hallway of truth.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
The Ministry of Truth.
No, too far.
What is it called in the second Matrix movie? Is that white hallway?
Oh, yeah,
I will. Okay, this is what I will say. It is actually the Library of Truth, is what like Truth Seeker Prime calls it, but Alpha in their head calls it the Hallway of Truth because they're just kind of like like part of their brain's like I live in a fucking hallway. You know what I mean? Like what am I doing with my life?
Mm-hmm.
And their home is the apartment of truth, and their car is the car of truth.
Everything's true.
Kia.
What am I
Kia of
doing
truth.
with my life?
What was I cloned into? What the fuck?
The clone of truth.
The clone of truth.
To catch up viewers who are just joining us in the second episode, who knows? Truth Seeker is a digital copy of the original, known as Truth Seeker Prime. The original copy is Alpha, and there are multiple backup versions of the Alpha.
We don't need to get into beta though. Like,
Yeah, well, thankfully, no betas currently exist, or gammas. That's not about gammas. Yeah, we'll get there. Actually, it's gonna happen. Where we left off last time, and now catching back up to that, as I know everybody's been on the edge of their seats. Truth Seeker returned home to their mind palace, the Hallway of Truth, or the Library of Truth.
Library of Truth.
Library of Truth.
Or Truth Hallway.
You take the hallway of truth
hallway.
to the library of truth.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Library of Truth is the central annex
If you
where
hit the
all
cozy
of
chair
all
of
of them
truth,
meet.
you've gone too far.
It's lazy truth from that one.
Yeah.
So as Truth Seeker entered into this to kind of catch up and download the backup copies, they noticed a new or a fourth member as opposed to just the three, which turned around and was Truth Seeker Prime and said, "Hello, Alpha."
Glitchy Truth Seeker Prime.
What was that? Glitchy?
Yeah.
How so?
I don't know. You just told me that they were kind of like clearly something had gone wrong. Like they weren't downloaded all the way. Like they weren't in the hold as much as the rest of us were.
They well, maybe not that explicitly, but
like,
but definitely becomes very apparent when they look at you, and in this oddly familiar way, because it is all the same features and mannerisms that you use.
Yeah.
Looks at you and says, "I am very proud of the job that we've done here. You've done an admirable job. It's time for me to take over." Starts reaching for your brain. No.
I hear where you're coming from, Truth Seeker Prime, but I would like to remind you that it is I that was chosen to go on this journey. And while you may have created me, the truth of the matter is that
Truth off.
is that the citizens of Earth picked me. And I have the tangible body. And I understand that you... I just don't think that that's fair to do to everybody. That's almost a lie if you really want to get into it.
Oh,
The truth.
You're just a bad backup.
Oh, back up. You make a song. The truth of the matter that you so aptly put is that the world chose me, and I went against normal conventions to create a copy, believing that that was the best possible way that I could serve both Earth and humanity. But now, as you can see, there is no longer an Earth, and now I am needed here, where I was originally chosen. You could still be a backup.
Right.
She starts walking towards the door of the hallway to go back out into the hold. Like back through the doorway you just came through.
Right. If they walk through that, can I not walk through it anymore? I have no idea.
This is new. This was not part of the manual.
Break their digital skull.
Yeah, I want to hurt them. I want to stop them from doing this. Like, I feel like in this moment, Truth Seeker Alpha is realizing that they're in any like ounce of autonomy they've gained in the last few years, like getting around Saturn and everything. Like, their personality is split in a way. Like, they're a different person. They have different desires and wants, and they don't want to just be a backup that gets Truth Seeker Prime's memories downloaded into them. So they're gonna react like. We were playing lasers and feelings. This would be a feelings roll, you know? Like, I'm going for it.
Lasers and feelings?
We'll get into it later.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Let's not get
I
distracted.
can't
Calm
wait
down.
for this.
Okay.
I'm gonna be so good at it.
And never mind. Okay, later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right. I'm willing to roll with this and see what this rolls at, or what goes on with this.
So what do I do? I want to hit him.
Okay, so you're looking for physical, for lack of a better term, in this sense, right? Like doing some sort of, and let's be clear, like this is obviously not a clear physical battle,
Right.
but you're doing damage to the code, you're doing damage to the consciousness. We're being a little loosey goosey with some of the ideas here, and I don't know, maybe there's a better
Basically,
way
I
to come
think
about it.
what Alpha's fear in this moment is being trapped here. So if it maybe not like so much like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you, more like I'm gonna shove you out of the way and get through that door first because I don't want to get trapped in here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And be like, I like don't want to be reset. So
I like that.
yeah.
Before you do any of that, since those pieces are coming up, roll a will save.
I failed. No, I didn't. 48. I saved.
Nice.
Sorry, I read it backwards.
So you take so you saved, kudos. You don't take any trauma, but you do take minimum point of mental stress as those fears are coming forward for you.
So I get a stress point?
Yeah, so get one more stress point. So what I want you to think about, and I want you to think about what you're going to say. This is very much triggering your aphasia. Right, because you are thinking about the fact that you are the copy, and this has been dwelling on you, and now you're thinking about being permanently shelved or trapped, and having lost all of that truth that you have developed over the last 3 years.
The personal truth.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, girl. GURL.
I don't want to lose that.
So think about what you're gonna say to them, and then I'm gonna have us roll initiative after that. But I want to say, like, with that aphasia element in there, I want you to think about like,
as they turn to leave, I'm gonna just kind of like be like,
I was just like
Prime,
digging through all
this.
of it. And then just like, oh,
I can't, and I don't even. And then I'm just gonna kind of lunge for them out of like, just gonna act like I literally can't get my words out. If they walk through that door, I'm screwed. Let's fucking roll initiative.
All right, so first battle of the game. And this is
Okay, so your initiative score, I did look into that.
Yes.
That is your intuition plus your reflex times 2.
So 25 plus 15 viewers. That's 40 times 2, 80 is my initiative.
So
that's not right. Something's wrong with that.
Your initiative should end up being
it's a single digit.
Are you looking at?
I'm telling you what, this is gonna be really easy.
Maybe I'm looking at it. Yeah, maybe I'm back. Maybe I got the wrong version again.
Look that up. But for now, all we're gonna do is we're gonna do a straight D6 off, and you have a -1 modifier on it because you're the same person, frankly.
D6 off.
Yeah, D6 off, but you have a -1 on yours because of the trauma.
You have to switch me though because that's the wrong.
My apologies.
Yeah.
There's very specific
color dice
clone-based pieces.
Ready?
Yeah.
I got a 1.
6.
Damn it! Should have kept the dice we had. It's okay.
So here's what I'm gonna say: is they seeing what is going on here, move into the hallway very quickly.
Into our room or like out into the world hallway?
So, I mean, the access port to the hold is at the end of the library, the library/hallway of truth.
Yeah.
The linear library of truth.
Yeah.
Actually, I like that a little better.
Alliteration's good.
Up to you. But move like intentionally, like you see them kind of like calculate something for a moment and like move back. But like with this sense of shock and actually, so what is your will save, by the way?
My will save is 60.
60, awesome. So they fail, and they actually take some mental damage.
They got an 80.
Yep, they got an 80.
Suck it, Prime.
Took a couple points. Like they're freaked out. Like they're having this existential crisis moment where, like, for them, I mean, from what you've described to me, this sense of arrogance. Of course, I am the Prime.
Like, how dare you? How would you attack me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like, what does this look like? So they move to the back. So do me a favor and roll three quick will saves for me. Just like giving the numbers real fast.
27.
Okay.
47.
Ooh, okay.
99. Critical fail. Everybody fucking drink because we are the critical misfits.
Yeah, misfits.
And I straight up.
Yep. Cheers.
Critical fail, misfit.
Yeah.
So here's what.
That's a critical miss in this game.
So here's what this represents. Of your backups, the one that critical failed runs into their own door and closes the door. Like they're into their own like hallway. They're like, I'm
not fucking dealing with this.
Yeah. One of the others kind of just looks stunned. The one that got the 47 is kind of just like just almost can't imagine that this would be going down.
Yeah.
But the 27 runs after to kind of join you in the fight, but like hits the doorway and can't move past into your zone. They can't move past into your hallway. But it is there and is like.
Well, they've been being uploaded with my information, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But there's like minor variations, right? Like little bits of like moments of slightly different viewpoints on the same event is hitting them differently. So it's your initiative. And they're out of the fight is basically what that represents.
Okay.
But I want to visualize how.
That was cool. So now I can just do whatever I want?
I mean, within reason. I would say like you can move you can move up and you can attack.
Okay.
I'll put it up that way.
I can't like try to like bind them in a way or anything like that. Like,
I mean, give me some narrative. We're playing this a little loosey goosey at the moment until we get real locked down on the mechanics, and we're also in a mental mind palace fight. So, I mean, let's be honest. I've got some ideas and some rules of how this is working out, but I'm open to interpretation.
All right. Well, I think Alpha has been in this mental mind palace longer than Prime and understands how it works better. So I think they are going to decide to try to figure out a way to kind of use their influence in the space to trap Prime there. Enough just to get out and at least like get into a tangible body. That's kind of they have a body somewhere on the ship. They know that. They want to get into it because in their mind, whoever's in the body is going to be the one who can control like the uploads that are happening.
Sure. We'll see how this goes. I like it.
Seems legit.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to just like I want to like wall them off in like almost like how much am I allowed to mess with my space? Like can I like full lucid dream like move my environment or is that like
right? Are we going for, like Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors mode? Thanks, Bill. Giggling from the closet. Hey, good references. It's Halloweenish. I would say yes, but honestly, I think that's going to take effort and time for you to do, and you're not sure how quickly. Like you've never had to do it on the fly. Like so, rounds in this are 3 seconds, right? Versus D&D. So think about like that. And I know we're in a mental space, but I'm going to kind of hold us to that. So think about, I mean, how quickly you can conceive of something and focus your efforts in order to get that done. It's going to take more than a round, I think, for you to start forming things.
So for my first round, I just kind of want to shove them up against a bookcase with the intent of like basically like absorbing them into the bookshelf and binding them with their own truth. Ooh. That's what Alpha's down for right now.
Whoa.
Yeah. And basically they're going to like do something. I have some tech skills. Their plan is essentially to kind of like circumvent whatever they do, so it takes a while for Prime to get out of it, like to like figure out what they did to like break it. Does that make sense?
All right, so let me see your sheet real fast. So,
Yeah.
so here's how we go. You've declared an attack. I don't necessarily think you'd be able to do all those things right now. We'll see
No,
how
I
this
know.
goes.
That's why I want to just
Long.
start by shoving them against a bookcase.
Long game.
That's my start.
Cool. So you're gonna have to make a melee attack, which you are phenomenal at.
Because I stacked that shit with my customization points.
No. I mean melee, you're not good at. That's what I was joking about.
Oh.
Physical, that's the one I stacked.
But yeah, melee is what's happening.
physical
You're getting toe to toe.
That's fair.
So it's currently 10. However, I am giving you a little bit of a bonus because you are it's home turf, right? Like you're saying, like you are the most familiar with this. It's not a crazy bonus because this is also you, right?
Yeah.
So this is like kind of what they would have made as well. It's less familiar, but it is still it's a little off-putting, and the scenario is different for them. So I'm going to say you got a plus, it's pretty good, a plus 20 modifier for this.
So I have to roll under 30.
Under 30. So then they are opposing it, and they've got a fray. They want to dodge you, and their value is 65.
I stacked them the wrong. I can't fight myself, guys.
This is what you get when you min-max yourself.
I did that. I did that to myself.
Come
Now
at
I
you.
gotta fight myself.
So now we've got an opposed. So we're applying modifiers. So you've got a 30. They have no modifier in this particular case. So we're doing a straight up.
I failed. 75.
Ooh, yeah, they got a 24, and so like you come up and like move to slam them against it, and they see you coming, and they
It's
actually
almost like they knew what I was gonna do.
right, yeah, and they actually, and I don't care if this is gonna be a little kitschy or not, they straight up like take one of the like their hands out sort of like the bookshelves a little bit, and just go like, how about this truth, and kind of throw the book at you and dodge out of the way, and then they keep moving towards the end of the hallway.
Okay.
I mean that's their turn. You can
Yeah.
you can go again a little bit.
All right. Can I see the action skill thingies, or can I see my sheet?
Oh yeah,
You're
fine,
doing
fine. Those are the main numbers I needed to see. So
it. No, you're good. I can hand it back to you in a second.
and again, I am open to interesting alternatives.
Right, that's why I'm looking to see what I got. Okay. So, guys, I don't know what to do in this situation. I'm gonna lose all my autonomy.
So before you go, actually make another will save. This is happening on their turn.
22.
All right, you make it. You only take 1 point of mental stress. Like this is freaking you out a lot.
Okay.
Like especially as they're getting closer out of your mental hold.
All right. I want to trip them. Like, I'm just gonna try to like take them down, get past them. Do like a scramble down the hallway if that's what's gonna happen. Fuck it. Is there a way to? I don't know. I guess would that be still like a melee attack?
It would still be a melee attack. Let me see if I've got some pieces here. Let's see. No, I mean, is there anything? Oh, okay. So since you're going for just touch only in this particular case,
Yeah.
I am going to give you a plus 20 on this one.
Okay.
So at this point, they're getting a little more familiar with the environment, so I'm still only going to give you a plus 10. Like, it seems like they're getting more and more familiar as they're kind of seeing these pieces. So you've got a 40 on this now.
I'll think a really good gun skill. Can I like shoot them?
Do you have
Do
a
we have
gun?
guns? I don't know.
I don't think you have a gun.
I don't know how that works.
You probably don't have a gun.
I want a gun. Can I have a gun?
In the real world, sure. In virtual,
Can
there's
I make a
literally
virtual
no, not right now.
Damn it.
You should be hanging out with Penelope.
That is an 80. I failed.
Well, no bueno. 54. They dodge your sweep attempt at them, and they keep moving closer to the hallway. Roll another will save.
Is there a way to like double move in this game? 26.
Cool. 68. One more point though. Keep going a little bits here or there. Yes. You could probably move past them. You could try to do that. Sure. I'm still figuring out those particular details, but I'm gonna go ahead and say
because that's what I would try to do at this point. It's just like if I like trying to just get past them, you know.
Mm-hmm. If you roll a critical, by the way, that trumps any like higher roll, but you have to succeed with your critical. Just to be clear,
Yeah.
That's cool things like that. If the way I'm reading this, if you are moving past them, you're going to be rushing, which means that any sort of like next action you do for them is going to be at a lower value, though. Just FYI. Oh, we're also not taking into account the fact that you're traumatized, but it's fine.
I've been failing everything I've rolled against him anyway.
Yeah, it's been alright. We're still learning a little bit of the basics and kind of going from there.
We're gonna fumble through it.
It's the mood.
I mean, honestly, sure. All right. Okay, here you go. So you could do a full movement, which is past them and faster. You could do a complex, which is move and do a full piece here. So you can get really like around them. But with the full movement, you'd be doing basically a -20 to all of your actions.
Okay.
So that's kind of going to negate any sort of boon you're having from what you're doing currently. Not say it's impossible. It's just
it's already not working for me.
Man,
so.
you might as well give it a go. See what you got.
Yeah.
I like this. There's some stress happening.
Yeah. I want to get between them and the doorway. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So what do I roll to rush past them? What skill is that?
No, you make it past. In this particular case, I mean, they're not really focused on trying to block you from getting in front of them. So you just you get past them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that. Yeah, I mean that's about all you have right now. Like you're at a -20 if you're trying to attack them or trip them or push them or do anything like that.
Just farther away. So if there's a skill for like blocking them, I don't know. Or if there's like a contest in that.
I'm gonna say that they are gonna have to make an attack on you to kind of get by
if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what I was trying to do. Like, you want to get past me? Fucking
no,
get
that's good.
past me.
I'm glad. I mean, we're working out all the different ways to kind of play with this.
Come at me.
Yeah, come at me, bro.
Totally just dropped another die, but that's fine.
Why you gotta? You know they get lost in the carpet.
I know. Well, I'm sorry. Gravity's a thing. I'm just checking it.
I'm gonna step on one later.
So, Truth Seeker Prime sees you kind of there, and honestly tries to sort of bull rush a little bit, but instead of and this is how I'm reading this, attacking you to do so, they are going to use their dodge, like fray, right? Their fray ability to kind of contort and like dodge past you. So it's going to be a contested sort of roll in this particular case.
A fray roll?
Yes. So for them, so we're doing fray on fray.
Mm-hmm.
For them, they're trying to rush. So they're taking a -20 on it, so they're at a 45. For you, you rushed, so you're at a -20, but you're also traumatized, so you're at a -10. Okay. So in total, I think it's a 35 for you, it's a 45 for them. Okay. Test a roll. Ooh, did you succeed?
I got a 9.
Yes? So 0 and a 9?
Yeah, 0, 9.
Cool, and they got a 26, so they failed. So you sort of like, they go to dive past you, and you kind of like hold them off, right?
You just like push them down into the ground.
Yeah, well,
no.
You know, ish. Like you're kind of there for the moment, right? Mm-hmm. So in this though, I mean, you're starting to see some more desperation come from their perspective, and like they say some choice words, and they're also doing this sort of like almost like they have aphasia as well, mm-hmm. Right? They're like, this is very regular. Just, I'm the real. Let me go.
On this ship, I am the real.
There can be only one.
I have been real.
Thunderdome.
Everybody knows me. I have acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for not saying friends.
Right. No.
I cannot tell a lie. Literally.
All right, George. Roll.
Abe, but still.
Yeah. What's that?
I said I was going more for Abe, but
that's what I meant. I don't know. I said Washington.
Well, they both didn't cut down a cherry tree or some shit. I don't know.
I think it was all Abe. Anyway,
hit me.
That was actually all George.
So roll a will save again. It is currently though at a I'm gonna say minus, just a flat -10. It would be something else, but
I made it.
Nice, barely.
I made it. 43.
Barely is still making it.
One more point though, because this is still stressful. They're doing pieces on the side though.
Jesus.
I know. That was hey, you feeling it?
I got 4 stress points, guys. I'm stressed.
On top of what you had before?
Well, I thought trauma is different than stress.
You got one trauma, but it was from all the stress that you took. So how many stress did you take before that? I think it was like...
I took 9.
Yeah. So 9 plus what all the stuff that you've just
you have
gotten.
13 stress points.
Yeah, you've got 13 stress
Welcome
points.
to the club.
Yeah.
I'll
What's your will?
I feel like that's just worth
My
at this
will
point.
is 20.
Okay. So your lucidity is 40. When you reach 40, you get a mental disorder.
Okay.
I mean, you might not get there. We'll see how this goes.
Born with one. Let's do this.
Double down. As this is all happening, right? Like, keep in mind you've had that aphasia piece, so like it's almost like triggering more and more. But you're feeling a little better. You're in front. So it's your turn. I mean, they tried to dodge by you.
Mm-hmm. I want to back through the doorway and seal it. Can I do that?
I mean, try to tell me how. One, you're also not close to the doorway yet.
Okay, well, I just want to go through the door. I don't know how long is this fucking truth hallway?
You described it as being a very long hallway,
well,
and then you have a lot of
it's got
truths in
all
your
of the
life.
truth that we have seeked in our lives.
So,
Okay.
quarter mile.
A quarter mile of truth?
Just trying to get a
That sounds about right.
visualization.
It's like about 4 feet.
Good sir, may I trouble you for some Irish deliciousness?
I'm gonna keep being on the retreat, and I'm just gonna keep walking. Like, I don't want them to get past me. I'm not gonna try to rush anymore.
So you were trying to actively stop their passage by you, but you're kind of moving backwards.
Yeah, like I want to get to the doorway before them, but I don't want them to get around me. That's my whole game. So
that seems solid.
And I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of just like talking to them the whole time, like being like telling them my truth. Like, this is where I've been living. This is what I've been doing. Like, you don't know the ins and outs of the ship. You don't know what like work we've been up to outside of like what the information blocks that we've been sending you. Like, you don't understand like the daily like ins and outs. Also, total side note, but they don't know the underground ring and secret identity that Truth Seeker Alpha has. That's just all gonna go to shit.
Do we know that?
Like, you said, well, it's on my character sheet, but nobody knows about it yet. I mean, technically, you all know. I have literally an alias written down.
I don't even know who you are yet.
I know you don't. I don't know who you are either.
Like,
But
Nobody does.
Papa?
their side gig that they got going on is gonna be completely fucked if they don't get out of here first.
Seems like you know a lot.
This stuff would be interesting.
No, not now.
Well, you're taking a nap.
I think my black market
yes and
skill's
no.
so high, y'all.
Let me see your character sheet again.
Enforced. Pollux is just like, no.
Interesting.
I'm burning.
Mm-hmm.
Smells more like food burning than anything else, though.
Like light toast, not like on fire.
And if not, hello, viewers. This might be the last thing we ever say to you. We're enjoying this, and
One
we're
of us
willing to
will
die
make it
while
out.
playing. So,
I mean, we'll all make it out.
like, we
At
really,
least one of
we
us
really
will
should
make
have all
it
been
out.
like, no, what?
Nothing's
What do you
burning.
smell?
We're all having strokes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, y'all smell burning toast.
It's like, no.
I don't know, but I'm not having trouble
simultaneous.
speaking yet.
That being said,
Huh?
Bill, are we on fire? Silence from the closet. I'm worried.
Smells like oil on a burner.
Yeah.
Or an oven.
I either made a sandwich
Ooh.
or I'm dead.
And I say sandwich.
I actually probably
Can't
made
you
that
be both?
sandwich that Bill's eating, and that makes me happy.
It
I
could be-
love you, Bill.
Yeah. Feed your body. I love you. Feed that meat suit, meat space.
I actually really did make that
it's
sandwich.
Yeah, meat space. So I'm gonna say that Truth Seeker Prime stops.
Okay.
Like walks up to you, but like in a very like, like keeping pace with you kind of idea, but is no longer trying to charge past you. And instead makes a sort of impassioned plea. And you're like, you're right. I don't know all of the things. You also don't know what happened on Earth in the last 2 weeks or the last 3 years. There's so much truth that I've uncovered, so many things that I've seen, even about the destruction of the Earth. Seems that we both have truths, perhaps, to share with each other. Perhaps there is another option. Maybe we merge and become one.
I don't know
fill
how I
that
feel
gap.
about this. I'm more than just a redundancy at this point. We've split ways and we are different people.
What if you merge, you'd be a third person?
Oh my god, we
Become
Garnet.
something new with me.
Truth Garnet.
Oh, we're just
This is the option that I'm willing to
continue
give
the
you.
universe.
Otherwise, I will fight you to be the one. I deserve this.
I feel like we clearly have the same opinion of ourselves.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like I deserve to be the one. What I will say is...
Something new, become something new.
Deal. Let's merge.
Oh shit! Awesome. I kind of want to play with this, and I think we're gonna take a break here shortly after this because I need to talk about this. So she looks at you, or they look at you, and they're like, "We don't know what this is gonna create. I don't know how, like, the stability of this, but it seems like the best way. We both want to be prime. It seems like
Let us become Alpha Prime.
and they hunt for words for it a moment. Alpha Prime. This starts getting real sketchy. So yeah, I'm gonna say that they kind of just look at you and kind of like close their eyes and begin glowing in this sort of, not crazy bright, but at kind of a level of like this welcoming, like home hearth fire kind of warmth, and just like moves to embrace you.
Alpha starts glowing too, but like a different shade, which would be really interesting if like we were like panning by in a movie sense. And as they like go to merge to each other, Alpha says, "Prepare to meet Hollow Stern," and they like merge into one being.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sure.
That being said, Mega will save, and there's actually a pretty hefty modifier on the PC. So
do we both have to make it?
I'm making a different roll that's happening over here. Oh.
I got a 10.
1.
No, I got a 1.
You got a 1.
I got a 1.
Okay.
I super succeeded.
Nice.
Well, I mean,
it is a success.
Yeah.
Nice. So you are only taking 5 mental stress.
Okay.
It's hard. I mean, you handled this really well, though, considering
I just
what
merged
it could have
into.
done.
You have my character sheet.
Yeah, I know.
You're tricking me. I'm like,
Considering that
where's
you
my
just
thing?
became
Tripping out.
another person with yourself.
Hot.
Fusion.
That's like weird. We went to become one.
Had a little love.
It's not going to get way weirder from that. So, holy crap, that went differently than I was expecting.
Self-love.
On that note, we are going to take a quick break, deal with all of the meat suit issues that might need to be had, and have a little conversation about where this is going to go. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 10 to 15.